या देवी स्तूयते नित्यं विबुधैर्वेदपारगैः सा मे वसतु जिह्वाग्रे ब्रह्मरूपा सरस्वती। नमामि नारायणपादपङ्कजं करोमि नारायणपूजनं सदा वदामि नारायण नामधर्मलं स्मरामि नारायण तत्त्वमव्ययम्. Invoking the grace of Goddess Saraswati, Guru Ayappan, Mahaperiyawal and Guru Parampara, we are now continuing our discussion on Dasakam 6, verse number 3. Today is Vaikuntha Ekadashi, so I thought it would be appropriate to talk few things about Vaikuntha Ekadashi today, prior to commencement of Narayaniya. There is a reference in the Padma Puranam about the significance of this Vaikuntha Ekadashi. It is mentioned there that the Vishnu, when he is in Gada Nidra, the Stri Rupa Shakti emerged from Vishnu and destroyed the Asura on this day. Hence, this is called as a Vaikuntha Ekadashi. This is coming in, this is also called the Moksha Ekadashi also. This is coming, of course, in this sacred Margari month. There's this verse which talks about the significance of Ekadashi. Gayatriya na param mantram, na ekadashya param vradam, na matu param daivam, na kashya param tirtham. Four things are talked about. Gayatri is the most sacred mantra. There is no mantra more sacred than Gayatri. Mata is more sacred than any others, more any other god. Then Kashi is meant for Ganges, the Tirtham, which is more Pavitra. And then it says, Ekadashya Param Vradam. Amongst all the Vradas, Ekadashi Vratam is the most supreme Vratam, highest Vratam, you can take it as. It is mentioned that on this Ekadashi, Vaikuntha Ekadashi, the Amrita Vadanam took place. And also on this day only, Bhagavad Gita Avatara Dinam also is considered because Lord gave that what is called the Jnana Amritam here, whereby you could attain Vaikuntha. So this Vaikuntha Ekadashi Vratam is to be done by all. Relaxation only for 8 years below children and above 80 years. That is after completion of Sadabhishekam. Only these two are exempt and all others have to observe this Ekadashi Vratam. Of course, it excludes people who are physically disabled. It is mentioned here that on Ekadashi what is to be done. There is a verse which talks about Shuddhopavasam Satkatha Sravanam Ekadashyam tu Kartavyam Sarvesham Bhojanadvayam. Bhojanadvayam should not be taken as on Ekadashi we should have food for 2 times. It says Bhojana, He Jana, Bho is Sambodhana, He Jana, Dvayam Karyam Kuryad. One is Shuddha Upavasam, then second is Katha Shravanam. The word Upavasa has got literal meaning of the word Upavasa is Upa means near, Vasa means Vasati. This is Samipe Vasati, means residing near the Lord. What does it mean? Thinking of the Lord. Smaranam Kirtanam Vishnoho. That part is brought out here. Thinking of the Lord is very important. And then the Upavasa also we understand as fasting. That we do not take any food on that day. The fasting implies solid as well as liquid. In fact, in North, even they do not take even water. So that it becomes a Shuddha Upavasa. If it is taken without dry, without solid, it's not a Shuddha Upavasa, but it is Upavasa to some extent. But what is more important is that we normally talk more about fasting, but we don't think of God at that time. In fact, taking less food and thinking more of God is also equivalent to Shuddha Upavasa. The purpose of having less food is to think of the God. The Karanam is Ishvara. That has to be kept in mind. So the Karyam is only the Upavasa now here. So that is being talked about here. And then one more thing it is to be mentioned here, Paramacharya has talked about, is that the Upavasa also he added one more thing, Aho Ratram. Ahaha means day and Ratram is night. It's not only waking up, waking up at night time, but we should be also wake up at night also. We should not sleep at night. That's why Ahoratra is added. So then it becomes Bho Jana Trayam, 3 things. So I'm repeating again. Shuddho Babasam, Satkata Sravanam, Ahoratram, waking even at night time. In fact, only in Vaikuntha Ekadasi and in Mahashivratri, we are awake at night, thinking of the Lord. On this most sacred day, we are also fortunate to go through the Narayaniya slokas. In the last 2 verses, we saw that in this chapter, it is a Virat Swarupam, Dasaka 6, where the universe is described as the form of the Lord. And in the verse 1, we covered the nether world, the world below. That is, the lower surface is the Patala, upper surface is the Rasatala, and then came the Mahatala, which is the 2 ankles, and the portion between the knees and the ankles. The portion between the knees and the ankles, they are called as the Talatala. The knees are the Sutala, and then Vitala and Atala represents the thighs. Then we came to the world starting from Bhu. Bhuhu means the earth, which is the hip portion. Bhuvaha is the sky, the navel portion. And the chest is called the Swarga, which is the abode of Indra. And then the remaining parts are covered in the verse number 3, which we'll go through now. Griva mahastava mukam cha janastapastu phalam shirastava samastamayasya satyam evam jaganmayatano jagata shritairapi anyer nibaddhabapushe bhagavan namaste. Tad grivasaha, thy neck is Maharloka. Mukam cha janaha, thy face is Janalokaha. Phalam tu tapaha, the forehead is Tapoloka. Samastamayasya tava, of thee who are everything. You are everything. That's what it means. Shiraha Satyam, the head is Satyaloka. He Jaganmayatano Bhagavan, O Lord, whose body is the universe, evam, in this manner, Jagadashritaihi Anyehi Abhi Nipaddha Vapushe, whose body is conceived as made up of all the other things in the universe, te, to you, tam, namaha, my salutations, or our salutations. O Lord, thy neck is Maharloka, thy face is Janaloka, thy forehead is Tapoloka, Satyaloka is the head of thee who are everything. O Lord, whose body is the whole universe, salutations to you, whose body is conceived as made up of all the other things in the universe also, in this manner. So last time, Bhuvaha Subhaha was covered in the verse number 2. Now about what next loka comes is the Maharloka. So the neck aspect, the portion is called Maharloka. Then the Janaloka is the face. And the forehead is the Tapoloka. Tapoloka is the forehead. And Satyaloka is the head. This way, all the 14 worlds is represented the various forms, the physical of the body. The various forms of the body are linked to the world. In this way, it is described in the verses that all the 14 worlds form the cosmos also. All the 14 worlds, the cosmos, form the Avayava or the limbs of the Bhagavan, Ishvara. There is a mention made further that besides this, there are also other things in the universe which constitute the form of the Lord. The expression made up of all other things in the universe, that is elaborated in the next 16 verses, which we will continue in the next class, because I would like to have us recite these 3 verses. When we recite these 3 verses, it means that we are having a Vishwarupa Darshana of the Lord. So let us all on this Vaikuntha Ekadashi day recite all these 3 verses together. Evam Chadurdasha Jagan Mayatam Gatasya Patalamishatav Padatalam Vadanti Padurdvadeshamapi Devarasatalam Te Gulfadvayam Kalumahatalam Gange Tala Talamato Sutalam Chajanu Kinchoru Bhagyajukalam Vitala Taledve Kshonitalam Jaganamambharamanganabihi Vakshascha Shakranilayastava Chakrapane Griva Mahastabamukam Cha Janastapastu Phalam Shirastava Samastamayasya Satyam Evam Jaganmayatano Jagadashtritairapi Anyer Nibaddhavapushe Bhagavan Namaste Narayana Akila Guru Bhagavan Namaste Haryadevi Stuyade Nityam Vibudhair Vedaparagaihi Same Vasadu Jighvagre Brahmarupa Saraswati Namami Narayana Padabangajam Karomi Narayana Pujanam Sada Vadhami Narayana Namadharmaram Smarami Narayana Tattva Mabhyayam. Invoking the grace of Goddess Saraswati, Guru Ayyappan, Mahaperiyavada and Guru Parambara, we are now continuing our discussion on Dasakam 6, verse number 3. Today is Vaikuntha Ekadashi, so I thought it would be appropriate to talk few things about Vaikuntha Ekadashi today, prior to commencement of Narayaniya. There is a reference in the Padma Puranam about the significance of this Vaikuntha Ekadashi. It is mentioned there that the Vishnu, when he is in Gada Nidra, the Stri Rupa Shakti emerged from Vishnu and destroyed the Asura on this day. Hence, this is called as a Vaikuntha Ekadashi. This is coming in, this is also called the Moksha Ekadashi also. This is coming, of course, in this sacred Margari month. There's this verse which talks about the significance of Ekadashi. Gayatriya na param mantram, na ekadashya param vradam, na matu param daivam, na kashya param tirtham. 4 things are talked about. Gayatri is the most sacred mantra. There is no mantra more sacred than Gayatri. Mata is more sacred than any others, more any other god. Then Kashi is meant for Ganges, the Tirtham, which is more Pavitram. And then it says, Ekadashya Param Vradam. Amongst all the Vradas, Ekadashi Vratam is the most supreme Vratam, highest Vratam, you can take it as. It is mentioned that on this Ekadashi, Vaikuntha Ekadashi, the Amrita Vadanam took place. And also on this day only, Bhagavad Gita Avatara Dinam also is considered because Lord gave that what is called the Jnana Amritam here, whereby we could attain Vaikuntha. So this Vaikuntha Ekadashi Vratam is to be done by all. Relaxation only for 8 years below children and above 80 years. That is after completion of Sadabhishekam. Only these 2 are exempt and all others have to observe this Ekadashi Vratam. Of course, it excludes people who are physically disabled. It is mentioned here that on Ekadashi what is to be done. There is a verse which talks about Shuddhopavasam Satkatha Sravanam Ekadashyam tu Kartavyam Sarvesham Bhojanadvayam. Bhojanadvayam should not be taken as on Ekadashi we should have food for 2 times. It says Bhojana, He Jana, Bho is Sambodhana, He Jana, Dvayam Karyam Kuryad. One is Shuddha Upavasam, then second is Katha Shravanam. The word Upavasa has got literal meaning of the word Upavasa is Upa means near, Vasa means Vasati. This is Samipe Vasati means residing near the Lord. What does it mean? thinking of the Lord. Smaranam Kirtanam Vishnu. That part is brought out here. Thinking of the Lord is very important. And then the Upavas also we understand as fasting. That we do not take any food on that day. The fasting implies solid as well as liquid. In fact, in North, even they do not take even water. So that it becomes a Shuddha Upavasa. If it is taken without dry, without solid, it's not a Shuddha Upavasa, but it is Upavasa to some extent. But what is more important is that we normally talk about more about fasting, but we don't think of God at that time. In fact, taking less food and thinking more of God is also equivalent to Shuddha Upavasa. The purpose of having less food is to think of the God. The Karanam is Ishvara. That is to be kept in mind. So the Karyam is only the Upavasa now here. So that is being talked about here. And then one more thing it is to be mentioned here, Paramacharya has talked about, is that the Upavasa also he added one more thing, Aho Ratram. Ahaha means day and Ratram means night. It is not only waking up, waking up at night time, but we should be also wake up at night also. We should not sleep at night. That's why Aho Ratram is added. So then it becomes Bho Jana Trayam. Three things. So I am repeating again. Shuddho Bhavasam, Satkata Sravanam, Ahoratram. Waking even at night time. In fact, only in Vaikuntha Ekadasi and in Mahashivratri, we are awake at night thinking of the Lord. On this most sacred day, we are also fortunate to go through the Narayaniya slokas. In the last two verses, we saw that in this chapter, it is a Virat Swarupam, Dasaka 6, where the universe is described as the form of the Lord. And in the verse 1, we covered the nether world, the world below. That is the lower surface is the Patala, upper surface is the Rasatala. And then came the Mahatala, which is the two ankles. And the portion between the knees and the ankles. The portion between the knees and the ankles, they are called as the Talatala. The knees are the Sutala, and then Vitala and Atala represents the thighs. Then we came to the world starting from Bhu. Bhuhu means the earth, which is the hip portion. Bhuvaha is the sky, the navel portion. And the chest is called the Swarga, which is the abode of Indra. And then the remaining parts are covered in the verse number 3, which we'll go through now. Griva mahastava mukam cha janastapastu phalam shirastava samastamayasya satyam evam jaganmayatano jagata shritairapi anyer nibaddhabapushe bhagavan namaste. Tad grivasaha, thy neck is Maharloka. Mukam cha janaha, thy face is Janalokaha. Phalam tu tapaha, the forehead is Tapoloka. Samastamayasya tava, of thee who are everything. You are everything. That's what it means. Shiraha Satyam, the head is Satyaloka. He Jaganmayatano Bhagavan, O Lord, whose body is the universe, evam, in this manner, Jagadashritaihi Anyehi Abhi Nipaddha Vapushe, whose body is conceived as made up of all the other things in the universe, te, to you, tam, namaha, my salutations, or our salutations. O Lord, thy neck is Maharloka, thy face is Janaloka, thy forehead is Tapoloka, Satyaloka is the head of thee who are everything. O Lord, whose body is the whole universe, salutations to you, whose body is conceived as made up of all the other things in the universe also, in this manner. So last time, Bhubuha Subhaha was covered in the verse number 2. Now about what next loka comes is the Maharloka. So the neck aspect, the portion is called Maharloka. Then the Janaloka is the the face, and the forehead is the Tapoloka. Tapoloka is the forehead, and Satyaloka is the head. This way, all the 14 worlds is represented the various forms, the physical of the body. The various forms of the body are linked to the world. In this way, it is described in the verses that all the 14 worlds form the cosmos also. All the 14 worlds, the cosmos, form the Avayava or the limbs of the Bhagavan, Ishvara. There is a mention made further that besides this, there are also other things in the universe which constitute the form of the Lord. The expression made up of all other things in the universe, that is elaborated in the next 16 verses, which we will continue in the next class, because I would like to have us recite these 3 verses. When we recite these 3 verses, it means that we are having a Vishwarupa Darshana of the Lord. So let us all on this Vaikuntha Ekadashi day recite all these 3 verses together. Evam Chadurdasha Jagan Mayatam Gatasya Patalamishatav Padatalam Vadanti Padurdvadeshamapi Devarasatalam Te Gulfadvayam Kalumahatalam Gange Tala Talamato Sutalam Chajanu Kinchoru Bhagyajukalam Vitala Taledve Kshonitalam Jaganamambharamanganabihi Vakshascha Shakranilayastava Chakrapane Griva Mahastava Mukam Cha Janastapastu Phalam Shirastava Samastamayasya Satyam Evam Jaganmayatano Jagadashtritairapi Anyer Nibaddhavapushe Bhagavan Namaste Narayana Akila Guru Bhagavan Namaste Hari Om. Ya Devi Stuyade Nityam Vibhudhair Vedaparagaihi Shame Vasadu Jihvagre Brahma Rupa Saraswati Namami Narayana Padapankajam Karomi Narayana Pujanam Sada Vadami Narayana Nama Nirmalam Smarami Narayana Tattvam Abhyayam. Invoking the grace of Goddess Saraswati, Guru Ayyappan, Mahaperiyavad and Guru Parampara, we now continue with Dasaka 6. Dasaka number 6, verse number 4. Tvad Brahmarendra Padamishwara Vishwakanda Sandamsi Kesha Bhaganastava Kesha Pashaha Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Druhinasya Geham Pakshmani Ratri Divasau Savita Cha Netre Tvad Brahmarendra Padamishwara Vishwakanda Chandamsi Kesha Bhaganastava Kesha Pashaha Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Druhinasya Geham Pakshmani Ratri Divasau Sabita Cha Netre. We go into the meaning of this verse. He Vishwakanta Ishvara, O Lord, the cause of this universe. Tvad Brahmarendra Padam, Thai Brahmarendra. Chandamsi represents the Vedas. Keshava, He Keshava, O Keshava. Tava Kesha Pashaha, thy wonderful hair or locks of hair. Ganaha represents the clouds. Ullasi, the splendorous. Chilli Yugalam, the 2 eyebrows. Druhinasya Geham, they are the abode of Brahma. Pakshmani, the eyelashes. Ratri Divasau, are night and day. Netre Savitacha, the eyes are the sun. O Lord, who are the cause of the universe, thy Brahmarendra is the Vedas. O Keshava, thy wonderful locks of hair is the clouds. Thy 2 eyebrows, splendorous eyebrows, they are the abode of Brahma. The eyelashes are night and day. The eyes are the sun. Again, descriptive, further elaboration of the form of the Ishvara represented in the universe. We saw in the last time that in the previous 3 verses they covered the 14 worlds, and thereafter towards the end in the verse number 3 it was mentioned that your body is conceived of, made up of all the other things in the universe also. So all these other things in the universe, they are being elaborated in the next 6 verses starting from 4 onwards. So in this verse it is said that the Lord is mentioned as the cause of the universe, because Ishvara with Maya Shakti created the universe, and therefore Ishvara is represented as the cause of the universe. Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. The Brahmarindra is the Vedas. There is literally no translation this. Brahmarindra is considered to be the cavity at the peak of the head, the orifice they call it. It is believed traditionally that when the sannyasi gains samadhi, that through this cavity is broken, and in Krama Mukti, the jiva through this cavity comes out and goes to the various lokas culminating in Brahma Loka or Satya Loka, and there after gaining jnanam, he attains moksha. So here it said, this process of gaining Krama Mukti, since it is being described in the Vedas, it is symbolically mentioned as this Brahmarindra is the Vedas. In Vedas there is what is called the Shiras. The Shiras aspect is considered to be the Upanishads. So here also this is coming at the top of the head, there is a cavity, invisible hole we may call it. Indra is the invisible hole. That is open, that breaks open at the time of the Samadhi. When the Jivan Mukta goes through the hole and travels Krama Mukti. In the process of Krama Mukti, he comes out, the Jiva comes out and travels through the various lokas, ending with the Satya Loka. So Satya Loka represents the Jnanam aspect. That is why Brahmarindra can be considered as the Vedas or the Upanishadic portion of the Vedas. Then Lord is also addressed as Keshava. The Keshava has got various meaning. One is one who reposes on the water. Ke jale, that is Karana jale, Shava iva yaha pratibadi sa Keshavaha. This is the literal Bahubrehi Samas explanation of this word Keshava. Means Ke jale means the Karana jale. We have already seen in the previous Dasaka that the Hiranyagarbha is created, that lies in the causal waters for 1,000 years, and after breaking open, the 14 worlds come out. So that Hiranyagarbha is indirectly can be also seen as the Kejale Shavaiva. Means it is not performing any action, Akarta. So the Brahman. So the Hiranyagarbha is also addressed as Keshava here. The word Keshava also means one who killed the demon Keshi. Lord Krishna killed the demon Keshi, it comes in the Purana. The third interpretation of the word Keshava also means Ka means Brahma, A means Vishnu, E means Rudra. So Ka, A, E, that is being represented. That means the 3 functional aspects of the creation is contained in the word Keshava. And there is one more meaning for the word Keshava. Keshava means one who has got beautiful hair. Kesha. So these are the interpretations of the word. So the Lord is again seen as Nirguna as well as Saguna. And here that Keshava, that wonderful hair, is being represented here. And it is said that these are like the clouds, the passing clouds. Then the 2 eyebrows are the abode of Brahma. Night and day are represented by eyelashes. And the eyes are the sun. The sun also symbolizes the knowledge, jnana. So these are descriptive verses which describes the various organs of the Ishvara contained in the universe. Because universe eyes is the sun. So we have to see that way. We'll go into the next verse now. Nishesha Vishwarajana cha Kataksha Mokshaha Karnau Dishokshiyugalam Tabanasike Dve Lobatrapecha Bhagavan Natarottaroštau Tara Ganascharadana Samanascha Dhamstra. Hey Bhagavan, O Lord, Tava Kataksha Mokshaha, your glance, Nishesha Vishwarachana, is the act of creation of the whole universe. Karnau Dishaha, thy ears are the directions. Dve Nasige, the two nostrils. Ashvi Yugalam, they are the two Ashwini Devatas. Adharottaroštau, the lower and upper lips. Lobatrapecha are greed and modesty. Dashanaha, the teeth. Tara Ganaha cha are the stars. Damstra Shamanaha cha, the molars are Yama. O Lord, thy glance is the creation of the whole universe. Thy ears are the direction. The two nostrils are the two Ashwini Devatas. The lower and upper lips are greed and modesty. The teeth are the stars. The molars are Yama. These are again descriptive. Some of these are already covered also in the Tattvabodha, where nostrils are the Ashwini Devata. And Dik Shrotrasya Dik, there it was mentioned, the same ears are mentioned as the direction. Granasya Ashwino, that is mentioned as the nostrils are the Ashwini Devata. Molar teeth means they are the teeth used for grinding the food. So that is considered to be the presiding deity, is considered to be the Yama. So that is again descriptive. Further details of the various sub-organs are contained in this verse also. We will now go to the verse 6. Maya vilasahasidam swasitam samiro jihva jalam vachanamisha shakunta panktihi siddhadayah swaragana mukaran ramagnim deva bujha stanayugam tava dharma devaha. Maya vilasah sitam swasitam samiro jihva jalam vachanamisha shakunta panktihi siddhadayah swaragana mukaran ramagnihi deva bujaha stanayugam tava dharma devaha. Ye Isha, O Lord, tava vilasaha sitam, your charming smile. Maya is Maya. Swasitam, thy breath. Samiraha is the wind. Jihva jalam, the tongue is water. Vachanam, thy speech. Shakunta panktihi is a row of birds. Swaraganaha, thy tunes. May call it the swaras, saptaswaras maybe. Siddhadayaha are the siddhas, etc. Mukarandram, thy mouth. Agni is fire. Bujaha devaha, thy hands are the gods. Stanayugam, thy two breasts are dharma devaha, are the dharma deva. O Lord, your charming smile is Maya. Thy breath, the wind. The tongue, water. The speech, birds. Thy tunes or the swaras, which are represented in the music, they are the siddhas, etc. Siddhas. We can say siddhadayaha, adayaha is there, siddhas, etc. Literally. Thy mouth, your mouth is the fire. Your hands, the gods. Devaha. Here the gods means all the preceding deities are covered here. And thy breasts are the dharma devata. Pair of two breasts, they are called as the dharma devata. The smile is called the bewitching Maya because Lord projected, the universe is a projection of Maya using Brahman as the Adhisthana. So the smile represents the The Ishvara smiles at the creation. The breath is the wind, because breath is the life force. Therefore, without the Vayu, the universe cannot survive. That is why it is mentioned here. The water represents the taste aspect. That's why the tongue is covered here. We have covered it in the Tattva Bodha also. And the utterances are the flocks of birds, like birds making the sound. Those our utterances are mentioned. And musical notes are covered as the siddhas. Siddhas are the fulfilled souls and the like of them. And the mouth, of course, is the fire, and hands are the god. This again a descriptive verse symbolizing again the Ishvara various forms in the universe. We will proceed to the next verse in the next session. Narayana Akila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Hariyu. Ya Devi Stuyade Nityam Vibudhair Veda Paragaihi Same Vasadu Jigvagre Brahma Rupa Saraswati. Namami Narayana Padabangajam Karobi Narayana Pujanam Sada Vadami Narayana Namanirmalam Smarami Narayana Tattwamabhyayam. Invoking the grace of Goddess Saraswati, Guru Ayappan, Mahaparivar and Guru Parampara, we now continue our discussion on Dasakam 6, verse number 7. Before commencing the discussion, today is our English Happy New Year. Therefore, we wish all of you a very happy and contented New Year. Normally we use the word prosperous. I am using the word contented because contentment alone can give us true prosperity. In Bhagavatam there is a question asked, who is a Daridra? And he says, Asantushtaha eva Daridraha. Therefore a contented person alone can be happy. Because with contentment there is Purnatvam. And the Purnatvam means completeness. Alone gives that happiness. So it does not come from outside, it does not come from the world outside or from money, etc. In fact, the law of economics itself says, in the case of money, what happens is, the more you have it, the more you would like to have more of it. And therefore, material contentment is an oxymoron, a contradiction in terms, which is not possible. So therefore, contentment is always related to my inner self, spiritually. In this connection, I recollect the message of Swami Paramarthanandaji. He used to say, always remember this word or this acronym, RIDE, to invoke the devotee in you. The first letter in the word RIDE, the RIDE means, first R is reducing the tamasic negative tendencies in you. He calls the Dushta Chatushtaya, Ahankara, Mamakara, Raga and Dvesha. This negative tendencies is the reduction of negative tendencies. And the word I represents increasing the Daivik tendency, Daivik Sampat. First is Asura and this is Daivik Sampat. Increasing the positive thoughts or positive wealth. That is in terms of understanding that in the sattvic aspect of one's elements. The D represents dedicating all your actions to the Lord. This is very important. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna mentions, Yat karomi, yadasnami, yad juhomi, dadami yate, yat tabami Bhagavan, tat karomi, tadarpanam. O Lord, whatever I do, whatever I eat, whatever offerings I do, whatever tapas I do, all these are offerings to you. I do because the Shakti comes from you. The thoughts come from you, which propel me to do. So dedicate all your actions to the Lord. This becomes a sign of a true Karma Yogi. And the last factor, alphabet, that is E, which says experience everything as the prasada from the Lord, as the vibhuti of the Lord. There's another verse in Bhagavad Gita which talks about prasade sarvadukkanam hanihi asyobajayade prasanna chetasokshyasu buddhihi paryavatishthati. One who has that prasada buddhi is always happy with whatever he gets from the Lord. In our day-to-day puja also, when we, after the dhupa, deepa, etc., we do what's called naivedya. Naivedya is an offering. Whatever you have, you offer it to the Lord. And then, when you take it back, that naivedya becomes a prasada for you. So when we have food, we say it is a prasada. When you go to the temple and we get a drop of water from the pujari, that's a prasada. Tulasi, prasada. Laddu, prasada. Prasada does not denote any particular object. Whatever is there, it's prasada. The meaning is, it is coming from the Lord. So we keep this thought in our mind. When we develop this thought, remember this word, R-I-D-E, ride. Swamiji says, you ride on this spiritual vehicle, you will be ever contented. Your mind will be pure, antakarana will be pure, and you will be always happy. This is the New Year message which I thought I would like to pass on to you. And with this now, we will go on to the verse number 7, Dasakam 6. Prishtam tva iha deva manassudhamshu avyaktameva hridayam bujaksha kukshis samudra nivaha vasanam tu sandhye shepah prajapatirasau vrishanau cha mitraha. Prishtam tva iha deva manassudhamshu sudhamshuhu avyaktameva hritayam bujaksha kukshis samudra nivaha vasanam tu sandhye shepah prajapatirasau vrishanau cha mitraha. Hey Deva Ambujaksha, O the effulgent Lord, Ambujaksha, lotus-eyed one. Prishtam tu adharmaha, thy back is adharma. Iha manaha sudhamshu, in this Virat form the mind is the moon. Hridayam bujam, your heart is like the lotus. Avyaktam eva, is the unmanifest. That means in which the three gunas were in equilibrium before the creation. That's what it means here. Kukshihi samudra nivahaha, the abdomen is the ocean. Vasanam tu sandhya, the garment is the two sandhyas. Shepaha means the generative organs. Prajapati is Prajapati, also called Brahma, means Vrishanau asau mitraha cha, the testicles are the mitra, means the sun god. Literal meaning, O effulgent Lord, O lotus-eyed one, thy back is adharma in this Virat form. The mind is the moon. The heart, lotus, is the unmanifest. The abdomen, the oceans. The garment, the two sandhyas. The generative organs, Prajapati, and the testicles, the sun god. This is the meaning of this verse. We will now look into the Bhavartha also, the inner significance of some of these words, how this is related to our inner growth also, and how Lord presents his Vibhuti in different forms. The first aspect here is Lord is addressed as Deva or Deva. Deva means, in Sanskrit, the word meaning Deva means Divyati or Kridayam. Two meanings it has got. Divyati means that gives prakasha. Kridayam means it's a play. We can look at it in two dimensions. That in his presence, in the presence of Brahman or in the presence of Ishvara, the entire world is lit up. Means the Chaitanya Vastu gives life to the world. Otherwise, the Jagat is Prapancham, is inert, insentient. Therefore, all the 14 worlds, everything in the organisms, they become Chaitana Anatma because of the Lord's presence of the Lord. So he is the Prakasha for the world. Kridayam means a play. In fact, the Prapancha is a play for Krida, Lord. It is like a play. And therefore, play in the sense because because of the actions, interactions of karmas, etc., the jivas get created and they enjoy the karma phala according to their karmas. And the night, day, the entire creation works in a cyclical fashion, in rhythmic fashion. All it becomes like a play. So the prapancha is a play for God. It's a game for God. So kamayata, it says. So this is the meaning of the word kridaya. Then the word used also is ambujaksha. Ambuja aksha. Aksha means eyes. Ambuja means lotus. One who has got beautiful and attractive eyes. Two aspects are coming. One is the beautiful aspect. Because of the beauties that it attracts. So they go together. So the Lord is the one who attracts everything. The creation is attracted towards him, and being beautiful himself is beautiful. One feels like looking at him always. We are never tired of chanting his glory, looking at his face. When you go to Guruvayur, you can have darshanam of the Guruvayurappan. You feel like looking at him throughout the day. You don't feel like moving forward. So that is the glory of the Bhagavan that is being talked about. He Deva, He Ambujaksha. Then it says the lotus also has got another meaning also we can take. Lotus is considered to be the Sahasrara, the real Swarupa Paramatma. Located in the Hatha Yoga, it is mentioned that the Kundalini Shakti travels to the various spiritual centers and finally it reaches the Sahasrara. That is a point, that is a crown of the head, where there is 1,000 petaled lotus, Sahasrara means. And it is said that each petal has got 16 kalas. Therefore, the Lord presides over 16,000 kalas. Kalas means the vibhutis of the Lord, the glories of the Lord, the aspects of the Lord. The Kundalini Shakti, it is said that in the Tantra Shastra, merges with this 16,000 entities in Sahasrara, and there is the union of Atma and Paramatma. Then the yogi gets liberated in this manner. He recognizes that he is separate from the body and understand that he is not separate from the Paramatma. Therefore, the union of Atma with Paramatma takes place. Puranic way, they also say the Shakti is the Kundalini Shakti is the goddess, and maybe Mahalakshmi, Lakshmi, Ambika, etc. And Shiva, Vishnu, etc. represents the Paramatman. So the union takes place. So in this place only, it is also called as the Bodha Mandala. The knowledge takes place. That's how it is explained also in the Vedantic ways. When the true Jnanam takes place, person gets liberated. So either way, one gets liberated from the samsara. And therefore, this lotus eyed is very important, Ambujaksha. It's the focus point for one gaining mukti. It can be seen that way also. Then we come to the next, Prishtam Adharma. You find that the Iha Manaha is itself Prishtam to Adharma. Backside is called the Prishtam. It is called Adharma. It's very suggestive because the Prishtam which is outside the Lord. Anything outside the Lord, we should always understand it very clearly that Adharma is something which is not supported by the Lord. Because Lord is Dharma, Vigrahavan Dharmaha. So it is kept outside because if it is inside, it prevents us from reaching the goal. And therefore, the Adharma aspect is represented as the Prishta, means only figuratively means it is outside the Lord. And the Prapancham is also can be seen as Bhakhyandra, means it's outside. So when we move the Prapancham, you will not get the Atmananda. So when you move with the Lord, then you get the Atmananda. So in that way also, the Prapancha also represents the outside aspect of the Ishwar creation. So it can be seen either way. Then Manas is likened to the moon. There is a verse in Purusha Suktam says, Chandrama Manaso Jataha. So Chandrama means the moon represents the rays of the moon, gives coolness, and they are nectar-like rays of them. So the Sudham Shuhu, they say, means the Chaitanya Shakti is Sudhamshu, it's nectar-like. Nectar-like gives immortality. And therefore, the moon represents that aspect of the Antakarana which makes us move towards the Lord and experience His divine glory, gain that Amrtatvam, nectar. The rays of the moon are likened to the thoughts which arise in sattvic thoughts arising in the Jiva or in the individual. Then the Hridayam is considered to be a lotus. We found Ambuja Aksha, here also Hridaya Kamala. The Kamala is very significant here. Here the Kamala aspect represents what is called the Anahata Chakra. Anahata, that even in the Kundalini Shakti, there is a reference made about the Anahata Shakta. Anahata Shakti. The Anahata Shakti of the Chakra is ever new. It is the intersection of the spinal canal with the line joining the nipples of the chest. Hridaya Kamala it is called. It has got 8 petals, and Krishna is considered to be the lord of the 8 petals. And that's why we have what is called the husband of the Ashtamahishi, we say. Ashtamahishis are described in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam also, in the Dashamaskanda. Rukmini, Satyabhama, Jambavati, Kalindi, Mitrabinda, Satya, Bhadra, and Lakshmana. These are the Ashtamahishis. Then there is also a reference now about Sandhya. Sandhya represents the yellow garment, the Pidambara, because dawn covers the night, dusk covers the day. Night is Neela, bluish in color. So, beginning at the end of the night is dusk. So, the dusk and dawn are the opposites of the night and day. The day is yellowish. So, the Lord's Vastra is Pidambara. So, yellowish tinge with Neela makes the Lord, which becomes the Avarana for the Parabrahman, and it is seen as the manifest form, as manifest form of the Bhagavan. Through this Avarana, through this Vastra, the Bhagavan's glory is seen. That's why the Sandhya time is brought about. And the generative organs which are talked about, they represent the creative aspect of Bhagavan, the Sarga Shakti. The Sarga Shakti means the creation. So they are referred here as the Prajapati Brahma and the Mitra testicles as the sun god. And these are the inner significance of this. And the abdomen, which represents where the oceans are being likened to. This represents that we have seen in our Bhagavad, we'll see also later, that to Yashoda, Lord Krishna shows the entire world which is there in his abdomen. The glory of the Lord, the entire oceans means the entire world is represented inside the abdomen, and that is being brought about here by symbolically by saying that the abdomen represents the ocean. Ocean includes the entire world also. We will continue more in the next session. Namami Narayana Padabangajam Kuromi Narayana Pujanam Sada Vadhami Narayana Namarmalam Smarami Narayana Tattvamayam Narayana Akila Guru Bhagavan Namaste Hari Om. Ya Devis Tuyade Nityam Vibudhair Veda Parakaihi Same Vasatu Jihvagre Brahmarupa Saraswati Namami Narayana Padabangajam Karomi Narayana Pujanam Sada Vadhami Narayana Namadharmalam Smarami Narayana Tattvamayam. Invoking the grace of Goddess Saraswati, Guru Ayurpan, Mahaparivar, and Guru Parampara. We are now continuing the discussion on Dasakam 6. Last time we completed verse number 7. I want to just little more elaborate on the verse in terms of, it was mentioned there in the Sandhyas, Pradha Sandhya and Saya Sandhya are the garments. I started it but I could not complete it fully, therefore I thought I will complete it, then we will move to the verse number 8. The Pradha Sandhya is called dawn. Dawn covers the night. Sayam Sandhya is called dusk. It covers the day. The night is bluish in color. Extending this analogy, it can be also seen that the Kalebara, the Sarira of Ishvara, bluish in Neelam Ekashamala, is covered by these two garments, upper garment and lower garment. And that way the Sandhyas are representing the garments covering the Sharira of Ishvara. Another important aspect we will say that day is, both these garments are predominantly yellowish in nature. Therefore, Lord wears what is called the Pidambaram. That's why the word Pida is used. Ambara is the sky, the night is a bluish in color. So the analogy extends that way. Another important thing is also, day is also predominantly yellow. Sandhyas also the predominantly yellowish color comes. Also there is a reddish but predominantly yellow. Day also is yellowish in color. So the yellowish color gives brightness, lightness, light. So Brahman aspect is also covered, and it is can also be seen that this Sharira is also Avarana, the cover. I mentioned use the word Avarana that time. So the Avarana or the cover for the body of Brahman. It is said that in Vedanta Shastra, Brahman reflected in Maya is Ishvara. So therefore this Avarana, which is the reflection of the Brahman, gives rise to the Ishvara Swarupa. And that's how the Lord, the garments itself becomes the Ishvara Swarupa of Brahman. Now we will go to the verse 8. Sroni stalam mrigaganaha padayor nakaste astyushtra saindhavamukha gamanam tu kalaha vipradi varna bhavanam vadanabjabahu charur yukma charanam karunam bhudete. Sroni stalam mrigagana patayor nakaste astyushtra saindhavamukha gamanam tu kalaha piprati varnabhavanam vadanabjabahu charuru yukma charanam karunam bhudete. Go to the meaning. Hey karunam bhude, O ocean of mercy, te shroni talam, your waist, thy waist, mrigaganaha is the animal world. Padayoho nakaha, your pada means your shirt of pada. Padayoho nakaha, the nails of the feet. Hastyushtra saindhava mukhaha. Hasti means the elephants, Ushtra means the camels, and the saindhava means horses, etc. Gamanam tu kalaha, the movement is time. Te vadanabja bahu charuru yukma charanam. If you want to speak, we can like this. Vadanabjam bahavaha charu uru yugmam charanaucha iti. Like that we can split. They are the lotus face. That means the face is considered as a lotus here. Like unto that, as we have said earlier also. The hand, uru, the thighs. Uru, charu, uru. Then the feet, which is the charanam. 2 feet are considered charanam. Uru yugmam is said. The yugmam, the 2 thighs, it is mentioned. The yugmam can be also related to Baha also, the Charana also. Both are 2. Vipradi Varna Bhavanam, the place of origin of the 4 castes from Vipradi, say, from Brahmana onwards. O ocean of mercy, thy waist is the animal world, the nails of thy feet are the elephants, camels, horses, etc., and thy movement is time. Your face, hands, thighs and feet are the places of origin of the 4 castes. Is a literal meaning. We will now look into the Bhavartha a little more. First, the Lord is called as the ocean of mercy. Mercy is the Karuna. The ocean is limitless. Ocean is vast. So the mercy of the Lord also is limitless. Is it not bound? That's why it's considered as a Karuna Bhute. Therefore, the Lord is the abode of Karuna. We can take it in that form. We can also say ocean is in the form of mercy. Trapped in samsara is like also considered as an ocean. And we are trapped in samsara, and through the mercy of the Lord, we reach the shore and gain the ananta, and through that liberation. We can take it in this manner also. Now, ocean is beginningless and endless. So God also is beginningless and endless. That way we can also extend the comparison. Mercy also is limitless. If the Lord's mercy is not limitless, we would have been drowned in the samsara, in dukkha or sorrow. That way we can consider this as the Karunam Budhe. Then next aspect is, we can also see that the Surupa of the Karuna is Prema. We can take it that way also. The Lord, when we show our Prema to Lord, then we gain the steadfastness of the mind. And through that, we gain the Mukti. So, establishing our mind firmly in the Lord, that is the Prema. Then we gain the Surupa of the Karuna, that is Prema. We gain Lord's love, unlimited love or boundless love. Therefore, Karuna also can be symbolized to the love of the Lord. All these meanings are there. Whichever way we see, we understand here that the Lord is the one who helps us, who protects us, and whose abundant mercy helps us in crossing the ocean of samsara and reaching his feet. We can put that way. Now the Shroni Stalaha, the waist it is used. A waist has got two features. It is soft and delicate. The body of this, they are giving the examples of this later, they are all delicate, and therefore the Jantu word is used. Mriga Ganaha. Jantu word denotes the Mriga Varga, and generally it could be used also. It could be used for the deer. Mriga means deer also, it knows. Here the Mriga, they also talk about later elephants, camels, horses, etc. All of them, it symbolizes the one aspect of the wasteness Mriga is the Jantu word is that it could be used. It indicates also the softness and also the delicateness of the body. Nails represent the Shakti or the power. And these Jantus are of Shigra Gati. So movement is fast. That is why nails are being talked about. Nails of the feet enable the Jantus to move fast. That's why the nails of the feet, it is like Padayoho Nakaha. We move through the feet, and Nakaha is talked about here. So nails represent the Shakti or power of the animals. And these are Shigragati. Movement is very fast. Then Kala is also talked about here. Gamanam tu Kalaha. Kala is also, we find that as got Shigragati. Movement is fast, Kala shift. Virat and Prabhanjam appear and disappear in Brahman. Therefore, it denotes the changing nature. Both Brahmanda, Ishvara and world are located in space. Kala is cyclical, therefore the Kala word also denotes the cyclical. It denotes also the movement, also it cyclics, it repeats. Yuga after Yuga comes, day after night comes, and that cyclical process also is covered here. So it is the flow or the movement of the Virat. That way we can take it. And then it is talked about the Vadanabja Bahavaha Charu Uru Yukmam Charanaucha. This is very, very significant. We have to remember here. This is mentioned here that is face, hand, charming thighs, and feet. These four parts of the organ are being talked about here. And we have to remember that there is Purusha Suktam, where the Virat Swarupa is explained. This reference is made about this. It says, Brahmano osya mukamasid bahura janyakritaha uru tadascha vaicyaha padbyam bhomrti sashrotraat, like that it says. There it says, Brahmanosya mukamasid. The face is likened to the Brahmana. Now, before we move into this, one thing we have to also understand in this verse, the word used is Varna. The four castes from Brahmana onwards, when it says, it is not actually caste, we should say four Varnas. because when you use the word caste, it gives a different meaning. Because caste is represented based on the birth. A Brahmin born to a Brahmin becomes a Brahmin, like that. Birth, it is decided, and that's why we have a lot of problems we face also. But in Bhagavad Gita, our Lord says that these four varnas are based on guna karma vibhagaha, based on the attributes and the actions. So any varna is based on the vasana, and based on the vasana, the karmas are followed thereafter. And therefore, based on karma and attributes, the four divisions of varna are to be seen, and not merely based on birth. This is to be understood here. Because in today's context, we find a lot of so-called Brahmanas born from Brahmins, they don't really perform what is to be done of Brahmanas. Similarly, others and all. So it depends upon the Kriya. That's very important. Now, Brahmana represents the Mukham aspect, represents the Brahmana. Mukham means also the source of knowledge. So Brahmins are considered to be the source of knowledge. Their profession is to give jnanam to others, spend time in Shravana, Madana, Nididhyasana, etc. So this Mukham represents the source of knowledge. That's why it says. Then the Kshatriya represents the Siksha and Raksha aspect, represent the hands. Kshatat Trayate iti Kshatriyaha. The duty of Kshatriya is to protect the nation through their hands. So the Siksha and Raksha represent the hands, which is of the Kshatriya. Then the Thais represents the efforts for achieving the Krishi and Vanijam. The Krishi and Vanijam aspect, that is the farming and the business aspects, are related to Vaishya. Brahmanos Mugamasit Bahura Janyakritaha Uru Tatasya Vaishyaha. Uru means the Thais. This represents the efforts for achieving it. Because Thai represents the muscle aspect of it. So it's likened to the Thais. Efforts put in for the purpose of business, for making money. Not only for making money, for distributing it to the society. Supposed to use the money for the welfare of the society. Like Kshatriya work for the welfare of the nation, Brahmanas work for the upliftment of the individuals. So there is a Loka Sangraha aspect covered here. And Susrusha aspect is related to the Vaishya. This supported by legs. Through legs we move from one place to another. Therefore the Shudras, they protect all the three by achieving and doing an ancillary function. Padhyagam Shudro Ajayata. So the Vidya, which is related to Brahmana, protection of kingdom related to Kshatriya, farming business are related to Vaishya, and supporting function, Sushrusha, related to Shudra. And that is how it is present. So the Mukha, the hands, the charming thighs, and the feet. That's how it is described here. We will move to the next verse in the next session. Narayana Akila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Hari. Ya Devi Stuyade Nityam Vibhudair Vedaparagaihi Same Vasajajigvagre Brahma Rupa Saraswati Namami Narayana Padapangajam Karovi Narayana Pujanam Sada Vadami Narayana Namadharmalam Smarami Narayana Tattvam. Invoking the grace of Goddess Saraswati, Guru Ayyappan, Mahapriyavadan, Guru Parampara, we are now continuing our discussion on verse 8 of Dasaka 6. Before proceeding to verse 9, I would like to emphasize a few more things on the last aspect of the verse 8, where it is said that Vipradi Varna Bhavanam, the place of origin of the four Varnas from Brahmana onwards. The word used is Brahmana onwards. Means all the four Varnas. The Varna here, as I said last time, although it can be translated as Jati, the caste, but the caste gives significant implies maybe superiority, inferiority. Therefore, we describe Varna as functionary heads. And it is based on Guna Karma Vibhagaha, as Krishna said. that my Srishti, it is my Srishti, it's based on Guna Karma Vibhagaha. So the Brahmanas, they are considered to be guardians of the Vedas, which is the spiritual knowledge. There is a verse which talks about the Brahman's role. Janmana Jayate Shudraha. Brahmin is born from a mother's womb, Shudra. He becomes a Dvija, Samskarat Dvijaha, after the Upanayana ceremony. Then Adhyanat Vipraha, after doing the Veda Adhyanam, study of the Vedas, he becomes the Vipra. So from Dvija, he becomes Vipra. One who does not do Veda Adhyana is only a Dvijaha. And then after Vipra, what happens? Brahma Janati iti Brahmanaha. The ultimate Purushartha is knowing the truths of oneself and gaining moksha. So not only studying the Upanishads, but also doing Manana and Nitidhyasana. This is how it is described. For these Brahmanas, they play a very, very important role in terms of upholding the spiritual progress, and they are also the custodians of the material progress also. So the Brahmana is talked first about because Brahmanosya Mukamasid. In the Virat Purusha Deha, the face comes on the top. Therefore, first Brahmana is talked about. Bahura Janyakritaha is the next one. Bahu means the hands. The Bahu, the Virat Purushas, the hands, which represent the Kshatriyas. The Kshatriyas, they protect the country from enemies. And there are also enemies within the nation also. So they are responsible for efficient administration of the nation and ensuring that the nation works as an integrated whole entity. And the Vaishyas are talked about next, right? Uru Tadasya Vaishyaha means the thighs are denoted as Uru. And therefore, the Vaishyas are one who nurse the economic exchange in the community and are responsible for the material progress, creation of wealth in the nation. They are the custodians in terms of ensuring that the wealth is equitably distributed. That it is done in a dharmic way. So therefore, the thighs are called as charming thighs because of that. And the Shudras are primarily Padbyam Shudro Achayata, means the legs which denote the activity in terms of serving all the three. They serve the Brahmanas also in terms of whatever service they can do in helping running their activities. Similarly, Shudras and Vaishyas. And therefore, their life also intercourse in a much sacrifice and discomfort in serving the members of the entire community. Therefore, we find that all are equal. The ranking is based on the positioning of the Virat Swarupa, because the face comes first, therefore Brahmana, then hands come, therefore Kshatriya, then thighs come below, and therefore Vaishya, and finally legs comes down, therefore it is Shudra. So ranking is in terms of positioning of the various organs of the body in the Virat Purushas thing. It has nothing to do with anything superior or inferior. And therefore, if all the four works efficiently, it contributes to the growth of the nation. And therefore, all are equally important, and there is no distinction whatsoever. We will now move on to the verse 9. Samsara chakradhara kriyaste Viryam mahasuragonosti kulani shailaha Nadyas sarits samudayas taravascha jiyaditam vapura nirvachaniyamisha Samsara chakradhara kriyaste Viryam mahasuragonosti kulani shailaha Nadyas sarits samudayas taravascha Jiyadidam vapura nirvachaniyamisha. Literal translation of this verse in the Anvaya order. Ai Chakradhara, ho wielder of the discus, Chakra, holder of the discus. Te Kriyaha Samsara Chakram. Thy activity is the wheel of samsara. Viryam Mahasura Ganaha. Thy prowess is the host of great asuras. Asti kulani shailaha. Thy bones are the mountains. Nadyaha sarit samudayaha. Thy blood vessels are the rivers. Roma taravaha cha. Thy hair are the trees. E Isha, O Lord, Anirvachaniyam idam vapuhu. This indescribable Virat form. Idam vapuhu, Virat form we can say. Jiyat, may it shine or be victorious. O the holder or the wielder of the discus, thy activity is the wheel of samsara. Thy prowess is the host of great asuras. Thy bones are the mountains. Thy blood vessels are the rivers, and thy hair the trees. O Lord, may this indescribable Virat form ever shine or be victorious. The address is made here as Chakradharaha. We are going to the Bhavartha of few aspects which are discussed here. Chakradharaha is called. You have to add the word Sudarshana Chakradhara because the Lord Narayana Vishnu, he is holding the Sudarshana Chakra, the word Chakradhari. The word Chakram has got many meaning. It is the literal meaning is the discus, the one which destroys the evil. The Chakra is the one which has function. But Chakra is also the Samuha, the Prapancha also. Therefore, one who rules the Prapancha is called Chakradhara. It can be taken that way also. Then the Sudarshana Chakra means Sudarshana means that which is Shobhanam, Shobhana Darshanam, that which brings about auspiciousness and which is ever shining. Because that is a power. The power of the Sudarshana Chakra is that it ever shines and it destroys the enemies and therefore it brings auspiciousness. And that aspect we have to heal it. And therefore the Sudarshana Chakra, the Chakradhara has got meaning in this context we have to see. Then it says Samsara Chakra. The Samsara is related to the Chakra. Samsara we have seen earlier also. The Samsara is cyclical. The Chakra also is the cyclical. Because your activity is the wheel of Samsara, no? Therefore. Now, what is cyclical means it has got no Adi or Ant. We have seen it earlier also. But Samsara also is continuously working. And there is a threefold activity in terms of Utpatti, creation, Sthiti, sustenance, and Nasa, dissolution. All these things, then day and night, all these things work continuously. And therefore, it is called as Samsara Chakra. Now, one more thing is, because they are working continuously, there are also changes. Nothing is unchangeable. It keeps on changing. That is why we talk in terms of Utpatti, Sthiti, and Nasha. So, this wheel of samsara keeps on moving. It is never at rest. That is why it is not by the wheel word samsara chakramayi. Then what is talked about here is this also you can see in a different way also, that this prapancha is his leela. We saw it earlier also. And the pravritti is prapancha is his pravritti. Because as samsara holding the as a guardian of the samsara, prapancha, he has to keep on continuously performing various activities. But there is a karta. But as Parabrahma is a karta. And therefore, as pravritti is the Ishvara and as nivritti is Parabrahma. And both are his leelas. Because with Maya function, Parabrahma with Maya his function is the Ishvara. That we have to see this in this light also. Then it says also Mahasuraganaha. Means the Viryatvam is to destroy the Asuras. Ishvara has got the power to destroy. For we will see that throughout the Puranas in various aspects of various incidents, that God destroys the Asuras and protects the Suras, the Devas. And that is why the Viryatvam is talked about. Why the Viryatvam is of the great Asuras, because Asuras are considered to be mightier than the Suras. And that is why the Lord has got the mightiest power to destroy the Asuras. So that power is denoted here. And he uses all those Viratvam also to run the samsara more effectively. Then Virya also denotes the Udatta Bhava. Udatta Bhava means a broad-minded approach, whereby he ensures that dharma is restored. The Mahasura word, one is that great Asura we talk about, Maha Asura Ganaha, but the word Mahasura also can be said Mahasura Ganaha. Suragana means the Ganas of the Suras. Suras are the Devas. So with the Devas category, Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva himself comes, and he is the Sura, he is the Sura of the Suras, the Devas of the Devas. That we also can give meaning to this Mahasura Ganaha. The Parvatas represents the superiority and firmness, and they hold the Bhumi, and therefore they Parvatas protect us from nature, and they give sustenance. The Paramatma Swarupa, when we see in this way, we find here that he is subtler than the subtlest and grosser than the grosser, and is the most beautiful. And the prayer is, O Lord, this indescribable word, because we cannot describe, because he is the Vishwarupa, and therefore beyond words to describe. You ever Jia, the word Jia here means one is shine, and another is victorious, maybe victorious. Victory means let your form represent the victory for the benefit of the world. That means you protect the world. And shining means in your presence as Parabrahma Swarupa, the world comes into existence, activity. And therefore is represented here as the Maya Sahita Ishvara and Maya Rahita Brahma. Both are his things. So Maya Sahita Ishvara is the victory aspect. Maya Rahita Ishvara, that is the Brahma, is the Bhasa, the shining aspect, that which lends existence to the entire world. That way this verse describes the indescribable Swarupa of the Virat Purusha. We'll move into the verse number 10 in the next session. Namabi Narayana Padabangajam. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hari. Ya Devi Stuyade Nityam Vibudhair Veda Paragaihi Same Vasatu Jihvagre Brahma Rupa Saraswati. Namami Narayana Padapangajam Karomi Narayana Pujanam Sada Vadami Narayana Nama Dharmalam Smarami Narayana Tattvam Abhyayam. Invoking the grace of Goddess Saraswati, Guru Ayappan, Mahaparibhar and Guru Parampara, we are now coming to the concluding verse number 10 of Dasaka 6. We'll read the verse first. Idrug Jaganmaya Vapustava Karma Bhajam Karma Vasana Samaye Smaraniya Mahuhu Tasyantaratma Vapushe Vimalatmanete Vatalayadhipanamostu Nirundhirogane Idrug Jaganmaya Vapustava Karma Bhajam Karmavasana Samaye Smaraniya Mahuhu Tasyantaratma Vapushe Vimalatmanete Vatalayadipa Namostu Nirundhirogane. We'll look into the meanings, literal meaning of the verse. Idrug Tava Jaganmaya Vapuhu. Your Virat form, Idrug, which is like this. Karma Bhajam, for those who are subject to the law of karma. Karma Bhajam means karmis. Karmavasana Samaye. At the end of all karmas, or at the end of the prarabdha karma. It could be construed as at the end time of death also. Avasana Samaye. Smaraniya Mahuhu should be meditated on. He Vatalayadipa, O Lord of Guruvayur, Te, to you, to thee, Tasya Antaratma Vapushe, who are the indweller of that Virat form. Vimalatmane, who are pure sattva. Namaha astu, salutations. Rogan nirundi, deign to eradicate my ailments. Meaning, this Virat form of thine should be meditated on all by human beings at the end of all Vedic karmas and at the time of death. O Lord of Guruvayur, salutations to you who are the indweller of that Virat form and who are pure sattva. Thy grace me to eradicate me of all my ailments. This concluding verse makes a reference about the Vishwarupa of the Lord as described in the earlier verses. That form is beautiful and splendid. Brahmananda body we say Vishwarupa. And the stress here is on, emphasis on human beings who have to attain liberation or mukti by dwelling on the form of the Lord. Dhyanam it is called. So, Ishvara Swarupa Dhyanam for mukti. That is being stressed upon in this verse. So it is said here that karma bhaja means those who are subject to the law of karma. All human beings are only subject to law of karma. Karma means law of karma implies manana, marana, janana and marana. Because of karma, they take a birth. We have already covered earlier about the karmas in detail. So briefly I want to say is the current birth is because of the prarabdha karma. Now the objective of any human birth is not to continue this samsara. Samsara means the janana and marana cycle. The objective of human birth is to attain mukti, liberation from the samsara and gaining oneness with the Lord. Ishvara Sakshatkara. So that is being talked about here. To how to achieve this. Therefore it is mentioned here, all your karmas, whatever karmas you perform, should be seen as a means for liberation. It's very important. Now, karma smaraniya mahu does not mean that by remembering Lord at the time of death, because it says karma vasana samaya, at the time of death also it is interpreted. Just remembering Lord at the time of death will give you mukti, freedom from the bondage. It is not to be interpreted that way. Karma vasana samaya includes also karma arambha samaya also. That means throughout. And then it is not merely remembering God, but meditating on the form of the Lord. It implies the bhakti, devotion aspect comes. Generally the bhakti yoga and karma yoga are considered as separately, but that is not true. Bhakti is included in karma yoga, even in jnanam also. The word bhakti comes from the root called bhaj. Bhaj sevayam. Sevayam is to serve, to remember, to meditate. Everything is covered. So no karma or jnanam is possible without bhakti. And therefore we can classify itself bhakti into 5 stages. One has the sakama dharma anushtanam. Sakama dharma anushtanam is I do dharma anushtana for getting money, wealth, for fulfilling my desires. So that kind of anushtana, remembering the Lord, for taking care of my needs. That is sakama dharma anushtanam. From sakama then we go to nishkama dharma anushtanam. In nishkama dharma anushtanam, I am not a artharthi. I don't have any desires to be fulfilled. I am meditating on the Lord only for antakarana shuddhi, for attaining purity of mind, so that I can attain mukti. For that purpose I am doing. So I have got no kama in mind, no desires in mind. It is nishkama dharma anushtanam. Therefore I am increasing my daivik sampati. Remember the Lord, antakarana shuddhi. That is my goal of doing this, nishkama dharma anushtanam. Then when you are having this antakarana shuddhi, then only we get what is called the viveka and vairagya automatically. Then we qualify for the upasana marga. The first 2 are the karma, the next is the 2 is the upasana marga. In upasana marga it is said ekarupa bhakti, where you worship on one form of the Lord, Ishtadevada we call it, Guru Ayappan or Rama or Shiva or whatever may be the form. Aneka Rupa Bhakti, and that is what is talked about in these verses also, that Jagat itself is nothing but the form of Ishvara. So Aneka Rupa Bhakti, Ishvara himself pervades the world. So we meditate on the Ekarupa, from Ekarupa we go to Anekarupa. Then we meditate on this form of the Lord with Antakarana which is pure, we automatically only think and remember Lord at all times. There is a verse also which says, Vishwarupam Bhagavato Dhyayet Paramamangalam Yatra Kale Jape Home Swapakale Visheshataha. It is very auspicious to remember the Vishwarupa of the Lord, which is to be meditated especially during travel, japa, and prior to sleep. What it means is that at all times, from morning to night, I only think of Lord and His glory and seek His grace to give me that jnanam. So that is why we are coming to from Ekarupa to Anekarupa. Then the final part of the bhakti is called Jnana Bhakti, where I invoke His grace to gain the knowledge, whereby I understand that I am not separate from Ishvara, I am not separate from the Brahma. That knowledge, self-knowledge I am working for, and that I get only through the Karma Yoga. After Karma Yoga, I get the Jnana Yoga. The Jnana Yoga gives me the Jnanam. So the bhakti itself can be classified into 5 categories. Broadly from the Karma, Upasana and Jnanam. And in Karma Bhakti, Sakama Dharmanushtanam, Nishkama Dharmanushtanam. In Upasana Bhakti, Ekarupa Bhakti, Anekarupa Bhakti or Vishwarupa Bhakti. And then Jnana Bhakti is that gaining knowledge of my reality, my Swarupa. Understanding that my Swarupa is not different from the Swarupa of the Ishvara, and Parabrahma is the commonness of all. This jnanam has to be gained. That is what is being emphasized here. And therefore, I think of Lord at all times. It's possible only when it's not only at the time of death. What is most important here is the time of death means normally at the time of death, the body is left over here. The jiva leaves this body and enters another body. That is not the purpose here. Here we have to not just sacrifice the body, give the body, we have to sacrifice the jiva abhimana, the abhimana of the body. That I am the body, dehaha aham, has to be, we have to progress from dehoyam to jivoyam, aham jivaha. From jivoham, then brahma ahamasmi. That is the jnana aspect, where we attain mukti or liberation. That is being to be understood here. That is the stress here, say that. Therefore, I must be free from the, when I say antakarana shuddhi takes place, means I must not have sharira bhimana. I must be free from the hold of ragas and dveshas. With this mind, antakarana, when I meditate upon the Lord, I'll be able to see the glory of the Lord everywhere and see myself as not separate from the Lord. I see Him as initially as a dasa of the Lord, and therefore I see that myself and Ishvara are not different from each other. We are the Parabrahma Swarupa. This kind of knowledge is gained, and this is called as the Atma Darshana. The Atma Darshana is gained when we start meditating on the Virat form, on the Lord in this manner. Therefore it is said that, O Lord of Guruvayur, give me, you represent the Vimala, means the pure aspect, Satvik. Satvik means knowledge. So Lord is, the Ishvara is Jnanam. Jnanam is the Swarupa of the Parabrahman, Maya Rahita Parabrahman, who is Chit. Chit means consciousness, knowledge, pure, Bodha Swarupa. That knowledge is Ishvara. At that knowledge, when I gain, I become one with the Ishvara, I become one with the Brahman, because that is the only Vastu which is pervading across. This knowledge I gain by invoking your Vishwarupa, thinking of you at all times, dedicating all my actions to you, and then gaining the knowledge that I am that Brahman, not separate from you. Then in that manner I gain mukti. So the prayer is given, the Lord, oh Lord, give me that kind of a mind which gives me this jnanam. That is the prayer in this. And I prostrate to you. The Bhattadripad at the end of every dasakam adds this prayer saying that, O Lord, by your grace you eradicate me all my ailments. This is also applicable to us also, because since I am with the body, if my body is filled with ailments, I may not be able to think of the Lord. Therefore, I should always have a body which is also sattvic in nature, which is free from the bodily problems, so that Lord takes care of. As automatically Deha Abhimanam also goes, and I am able to think of the Lord higher. With this we are concluding this Dasaka 6 also, and this entire Dasaka is dedicated to the Lord, the Vishwarupa, the Lord as the Swarupa. The universe is nothing but, the cosmos is nothing but the form of the Lord. In fact, if you chant these 10 verses every day, we will automatically remember Lord at all times, because the entire Jagat is Ishvara, and I am also part of the Jagat, because the Jiva also is included in the Jagat. So automatically I progress spiritually and think of myself. I am able to come out of my raga dveshas, my kama, my desires, and have nishkama dharma anushtanam as the basis for gaining that knowledge, whereby I attain oneness with the Lord. That is called the Jivan Mukta stage. With this, we stop now, and the next session we'll move on to the Dasaka 7. Narayana Akila Guru Bhagavan Namaste.
Radhe Krishna. Gopika Jivana Smaranam Govinda Govinda. Narayaniyam 6th Dashakam. Evam Chaturdasha Jaganmayatam Gatasya Patalamīsha Tava Padatalam Vadanti Padhordvadeshamapi Devarasa Talam Te Gulfadvayam Kalu Mahatalamadbhutatma Jhange Tala Talamato Sutalam Tajanu Kinchorubhagayugalam Vitala Tale Dve Shonitalam Jaganamambaramanganabihi Vakshascha Shakranilayastava Chakrapane Griva Mahastava Mukham Cha Janastapastu Phalam Shirastava Samastamayasya Satyam Evam Jaganmayatano Jagadashrithairapi Anyai Nibhaddhavapushe Bhagavan Namaste Twadbrahmarandrapadamishwara Vishwakanda Chandamsi Keshavagana Tava Keshapashaha Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Druhinasya Geham Pakshmani Ratri Divasau Savita Chanetre Nishesha Vishwarachana Chakadaksha Moksha Karnau Dishosh Shviyugalam Tavanasike Dve Lobhatrape cha Bhagavan Atharotharoshtau Tara Ganasta Dashanash Shamanascha Dhamshra Maya Vilasa Hasitam Shwasitam Samiro Jihva Jalam Vachanamisha Shakunta Panktihi Siddhadhaya Swaragana Mukharandramagnihi Deva Bhujah Stanayugam Tava Dharma Devaha Prishtam Twadharma Iha Deva Mana Sudhamshuhu Avyaktameva Hridayam Bhujamam Bhujaksha Kukshih Samudra Nivaha Vasanam Tu Sandhye Shefah Prajapatirasau Rishanau Cha Mitraha Shroni Sthalam Mrigaganah Padayor Nakhaste Hastyushtra Saindrava Mukha Gamanam Tu Kalaha Vipradhivarna Bhavanam Vadanabjabahu Charuru Yugmacharanam Karunam Budhete Samsara Chakramai Chakradhara Kriyaste Viryam Mahasuraghanosti Kulani Shailaha Nadhyas Sarit Samudhayastara Vascharoma Jiyadidam Vapura Nirvachaniyamisha Idrik Jaganmaya Vapustava Karma Bhajam Karma Vasana Samaye Smaraniyamahu Tasyantaratma Vapushe Vimalatmanete Vatalayadipanamosthu Nirundirogan Gopika Jivanasmaranam Govinda Govinda Sri Hare Namaha.